Good evening. It's 7 o'clock, and I would like to call this Town of Sheffield Select Board meeting for December 13th to order, and to remind everyone in the room that we're being recorded and televised live this evening. Our first meeting, or our first item of action, is approval of meeting minutes. We have two sets of minutes from November 17th.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 17th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pens, okay. I'm having a problem with pens today. Next up on our agenda is Tate Collins, but she's not here yet, so we'll just move to our next item, which is a discussion and action regarding the forming of a communication preservation committee. As people may remember, we approved the CPA last May. I can't even remember when it was.
A while ago.
It was a while back. And as a part of that, we are now putting a sum aside that goes towards preservation of open space, towards housing, towards renovation of historic properties, and as that develops, we get money that matches it with the state, and we need to set up a committee to award that. And that committee is defined by having a member of the Historical Commission, the Housing Commission, and the Conservation Commission. In other towns that have an open space and recreation committee, it also includes that. So we will make an appointment of somebody to fill that need. We will be reaching out to those committees in order to fill those positions, but we also then have a number of positions open for members at large that would be appointed by the Select Board. So if you know of anyone, or if you're interested in sitting in that position, these are the people that will actually be helping to award that money as it builds over the years. Initially, the task will be to create guidelines and an application process for how the money is taken out, although some of those rules are defined by the state. We're hoping that we have people putting their names forward by, I believe we said January 31st. So if you could write a letter to Rhonda if you're interested, and if you know anyone particularly that might be interested in it from an open space or recreation category, that would be ideal. Any other thoughts on that?
They also would have to create a budget for how the money would be spent. That's one of the things the state is mandating and why it has to be appointed so early.
At the beginning?
It is.
Okay. And then, as long as we're on that topic, as tax bills come out, people will be seeing this on a new tax bill, that there's a 1% surcharge over the first $100,000 of an assessment. So I'm sure that the more we remind people of that, the less they'll call downstairs. So we'll try to do that regularly. I see that Tate has joined us. Hi, Tate. Would you like to step up and present your... Tate is here to do a presentation on the idea of having a plastic water bottle bin. Hi, Tate.
Thank you. Today I am presenting a simple but meaningful proposal. A town-wide ban on all single-use plastic water bottles. This ban would include exemptions for all emergency services and would not cover any other beverages apart from water. Similar bans have been passed across the state, and the language of the article proposed has been approved by the Attorney General's office, being borrowed from the articles passed on Cape Cod. Plastic has taken over our world and our lifestyles. From the air we breathe to the water we drink. Plastic is ubiquitous in our daily consumption. According to the Center for International Environmental Law, scientists have discovered micro and nanoplastics in every environmental compartment, from freshwater to soil and air, and in thousands of species, including humans. Evidence increasingly shows that plastic is bioaccumulating in brain tissue. A study this year by Duke professor and neurobiologist Andrew West found that most humans have as much as an entire plastic spoon's worth of microplastics in their brains. This has been correlated with higher levels of dementia and other medical issues. And the culprit behind this invasion of microplastics? Single-use plastic water bottles and other single-use plastics. When you twist the cap of a plastic water bottle, the friction of the cap and the bottle causes tiny plastic particles to seep into your beverage right before consumption. Dr. Sherry Mason at Penn State found plastic water bottles carry an average of 60 times as many plastic particles as tap. A plastic water bottle takes minutes to use and 1,000 years to degrade. And even then, it will never fully go away. It will only break into smaller and smaller pieces of plastic that will continue to seep into our waters and our bodies. We cannot continue these wasteful habits. We have to change. So I urge everyone in this room and the Select Board to support this ban and to vote to stop the use of wasteful and harmful plastic water bottles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tate.
And if you have any questions as well,
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any at this point, no. Thank you.
Interestingly, I think it's a topic that we're all reading about regularly
Yeah.
these days, right?
I also have the wording of the petition in my car, if that's necessary. I don't really know.
You know, if you'd like to share that with us, I think we're going to take this under advisement. I think that would be great to
Okay.
have
I also
that.
have it on my computer.
Okay. You can even just email it to Rhonda if that makes sense.
Yeah. I can do that right now.
Thank you.
I guess we have a lot of committee discussions this evening because next up on our agenda is discussion, possible action regarding the appointment of a committee for the master plan. And this morning, Rhonda and I, or maybe it was this afternoon, spoke with CJ Haas from the RPC about the creation of this committee. And we're pretty early on in the stages of, I don't know if everyone remembers, we got a DLTA grant to look at what some people are calling a master plan. Now they've also used the word comprehensive plan. There's a number of names that are going on with that, and that's also including an open space and recreation plan for us, I believe, for the first time, right? I don't think we've had one in the past. And so as a select board, we've been talking about the creation of this committee, and then in speaking with CJ, there was a discussion of trying to come up with a committee of about 7 people. And we're hoping that those people represent a broad and diverse part of our population in a number of ways, not just in terms of demographics of how long they've been in town, what they do in town, what they contribute in town, their connection to the workforce or farms or other things, but also with a knowledge of open space and interest in housing, thoughts about safety and security, senior living, senior care, and we will be putting forth a nominating process for people to put themselves forward in the weeks ahead, and hope people will consider doing that. It's also our goal to have this group be as broad-based in terms of bringing new voices into the mix as well.
Well, the group will also be working very closely, excuse me, with the planning board and with the housing committee. So having a member of those on the committee is kind of going to be redundancy. So we're looking for new voices that can work with the planning board and the housing and conservation.
And several of the other commissions as well, right?
I missed one word, and you said that we will someone from each board be on?
No.
No.
But they'll just work with us.
Right, they'll work closely with your boards, correct?
Okay.
With the idea that that's allowing fresh conversations to happen, new ideas. Sometimes it's exciting for us all to have somebody new looking at the things that we're doing. And we're really excited about this process. I think that we'll learn a lot. The first thing they'll do is compare the demographics from 2002, 2020?
I think it's 2020, isn't it?
The plan's 20 years old. Oh, but you mean the demographics from the
Right.
housing plan, perhaps. And we'll see probably a very changed landscape given COVID and the other things that have happened in terms of who's here. And lastly, we really talked as much as possible about getting not just that level of engagement on the committee, but as many people in town sharing their thoughts, concerns, and ideas of what we need moving forward in the next 25 years. I've probably talked on enough about that for us to move on to the next thing, unless anyone has any questions. Kathy?
Kathy Orlando, Chair of the Housing Commission, but I also chaired the master plan the last time. And there are a number of people who worked on that before who are still around. And in talking with CJ a while ago about this, he had said it would be helpful to be able to get some people also on subcommittees, because there's different sections.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it might be able to get something into the Sheffield Times about, the overall and then the different sections, so that people who are interested, have that way of also knowing if they're not listening to these select board meetings. And I know that since the holidays are here, although technically the Sheffield Times deadline would have been this week, today, there is a little bit of time to be able to say, if we're going to have something coming in, just set aside that space, because I think it would be great to be able to.
I've spoken to Andrea, and I'm hoping that in our select board letter to highlight both this and the Community Impact Committee,
That would be
Community Preservation Acts Committee. And I'm not sure we'll know so much about subcommittees. This is really probably not starting until April. So in reality, maybe we can get those initial people in, and then get names for having sort of a list on hand for any subcommittees that do develop.
Excellent.
The one subcommittee that we do know would exist would be something relating to the open space and recreation area, because it's sort of new for us.
So that wasn't actually updated at that time, so that one goes back another 10 years before that. So.
Yeah.
But Jenny Russell, who was part of that, is still around, so she could probably be helpful in helping to make some of those connections.
Thank you.
You bet.
Item number 6 on our agenda is action regarding vote on taking order of taking for the county road bridge replacement. As we all know, there's some activity moving forward, and the State Department of Transportation needs to create a alternate area for, I don't even know how to describe it, for wildlife, basically, or habitat.
No.
Wait.
Sorry.
Am I on the right one? No.
You might be. These are all easements for the county road bridge
I'm sorry,
replacement, right? So there'll be some permanent, some temporary, some utility, some regular. They're all very small. They've all been sent out to all of the homeowners. For instance, if they need to move a utility pole, it might be a permanent easement that now a telephone pole exists on your property where it didn't before. So these are all of the easements. I believe there's 5 of them. 5 residents involved. So letters of taking and offers have gone out because the town purchases those easements as well.
Right. So we need an action of our acceptance of that process.
I make a motion that we sign the order of taking for the county road bridge.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any action from the room? All in favor? Aye. Item number 7 is a discussion on the highway garage project. As everyone knows, at the beginning of this month, that process went forward, and the town meeting approved our funding on that, and so we're very excited to be moving forward. Next stages included our review of some plans that were a little bit further along. That would be the bid plans, basically, to go out. I don't know if either of you would like to weigh in on going through that process.
No, it's quite all right.
We spent a bit of time going through about 80 drawings. I think probably wore us all out, but the good news is we're moving along smoothly. We should be able to put that out to bid after we reach a spot of discussing financing. We've been meeting with
USDA
David Eisenthal and the USDA.
Right, David Eisenthal, who's our financial advisor. So there are no grant funds from USDA, but there is hope that they'll give us a lower interest bond at the end of the project.
And you know, a half point of interest on a project of this size adds up to about $600,000 or $700,000 over the length of the loan. So it could be a significant savings for us. We're actually not putting the project out to bid until we understand where we're at with the USDA, because we wouldn't want, if we were too far along, we might not qualify to go in that direction. So we're just waiting to get some further information from them this week about it. And we're exploring other grant opportunities through our state congressman, with the hopes that maybe we can bring some of these funds in other ways. Any other thoughts? I was really delighted by the meeting at town. I don't know about the two of you, in that I felt we had such a lovely, supportive cast of characters there, on an issue that really you felt like could have gone in a number of ways. So it made people recognize, I think, that this is something that's needed, and hopefully will help our highway garage do their job like they were doing that evening as they cleared the roads. Next up on the agenda is a discussion action regarding a one-day alcohol permit for a function at Dewey Hall. I believe all of the paperwork is sitting here. It's a woman named Dana Gruber from Great Barrington is doing an event on January 31st. It's a celebration for her son's bar mitzvah, and they would like to have alcoholic beverages. I believe, and we have a certificate of the insurance here as well. Any thoughts or questions about this?
I'll make a motion to approve the one-day alcohol permit for Dana Gruber, January 31st, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Item number 9 is a discussion, possible action regarding bulky rigid plastic disposal. This raises the topic of a lot of things, that waste management has become increasingly complicated and expensive for town. And we lost the person who used to take our bulky plastic, right?
They're closing on December 31st.
And so we're looking at some alternatives, but there may be a period where we will be not taking bulky plastic until we've identified a way of getting rid of it. I think we have a number of options that are looking somewhat promising, but it raises the issue of why our transfer fees go up, because these costs seem to be continuing to, I wouldn't even just say go up, but skyrocket in reality.
They are, if you look at the two places that the state is suggesting that we take our plastic to. One is in Hartford for $96 a ton. The other one is in Springfield for $175 a ton. The problem is we have to have trucking to both places. And I'm not sure that we're going to get our current trucking company to take it anywhere else but Springfield. So we are working on that, trying to get the cost down.
We'll get it done as soon as we can.
It's open now, it's not closed now. I
Right.
think Dave said there's plenty of room for a couple more months, but we'll see how that goes. We'll be monitoring it.
All right. Oh my God, how many committees are there in the world? Item number 10 is discussion and action versus serving on the superintendent's search committee. A note has gone out, I believe, to everybody in the 5 towns, or to everyone on their mailing list at least, and it's been posted around town for the search committee for the new superintendent. Right now we have an interim superintendent since Beth left in July, and as part of that process, there's an initial screening happening throughout the month of January, and they're hoping to have a member from each of the 5 town select boards, and we need to appoint somebody here tonight for that, as well as parents of students and teachers and or faculty or staff of the schools, 5 people from each of those categories. So people can nominate themselves up until, I believe, the 19th. So if you know anyone who's interested in sitting on that committee, it's a pretty critical committee to help that first round of process. I think they will be looking at all of the candidates, narrowing it down to a smaller group, interviewing them in the 3rd week of January, and then making recommendations to the school committee for a short list of people to be going through final interviews. I don't know if either of you have any take on all of this.
Not really. It seems like it is going to be a large group for the initial screening, so it could be quite interesting.
I think, I wish we could tell people a little bit more about the time commitment of it, but it's a little unclear in the letters from the school committee exactly when they're meeting and how those meetings will take place. That said, the three of us, I don't know if anyone at the table is interested in doing this, but if not, I'm willing to do it. But I'm also happy to not do that as well.
How's Patrick's schedule for January?
I could swing it. I'll do it.
Excellent.
I think that'd be great. Is that a motion? And he technically counts as an alumni as well, so that's
Checking the boxes.
There you go.
Do we need to make a motion?
You do.
That's what I thought.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Patrick Sloat to the search committee.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
We won't be seeing you in January. Next up on our item is just a reminder that Town Hall is closed the week of Christmas. So if you have any interactions that you need within the next few or week and a half, we suggest that you come in by Thursday. And we wish everyone a wonderful holiday. We're very happy to have the team that we have here at Town Hall and hope that they have a wonderful holiday. That moves us on to board member items. Anyone have anything?
Other than happy holidays, hope everybody has a great, peaceful holiday, and we'll see you at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Patrick?
Happy holidays and safe travels if you're traveling.
Oh, you guys are both too nice. I want to mention that we'll soon have another volunteer opportunity probably because last week we met with MEMA, which is the state version of FEMA, and did an exercise around disaster management. And actually after the last 3 days, it seems to feel like being ready for a disaster seems appropriate given what's happened at Brown and in Australia and in a number of other places. And a lot of nice things came out of that exercise in understanding how a community works together in these moments. The fire department, the police department, the school, the senior center, a number of people were engaged and are kind of coming up with a protocol for how we will communicate in moments like that, move ideas forward to our community with or without the technology that may or may not exist, depending on what the disaster is. But one of the wonderful things that you recognized in it is that we're wildly fortunate, and I think maybe this makes it more of a Christmas-like topic, that we have a town of people who are accustomed to working together, who know one another, who can reach out and help one another. We don't know what things can fall our way. The practice was a hurricane flooding portions of the town, but what we do know is that we can work together. We have stations and places for people to go, but we also hopefully have a community that knows how to look out for one another as well. And the volunteer option that may come out of that at some point is there was an idea of having neighborhood captains so that if there was an event that happened where communication became difficult by phone or other sources, there's a way of somebody sort of walking their neighborhood and making sure everyone's cared for who may have different needs. It was a nice afternoon, really, I think. And shorter. It certainly wasn't a federal event because the meeting actually ended before it was supposed to, so it was pretty impressive. If only we can work that way if we have an emergency, that would be exciting. But it also made you realize there are great services in place, I thought, to help us, right? Any notes from you?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Any public comment?
I have a couple of questions, is that okay?
Yeah.
Hi, Sari Hoy, 60 Main Street. I just wanted to go back to the comprehensive plan let's try getting used to calling it that. I don't think you specified the number of members.
We believe it will be 7.
7, okay. So we would have, if we have 7, we need about 4 people from the community we'd have a member from the Housing Commission, a member from the Planning Board.
No, that's what we were talking about. This commission would sit outside of that and consult with the different committees.
Oh, so all 7 would be from the community?
Yes.
I
The
think you're
CPA, on the
confusing
other
the
hand.
Community Preservation Act with this one.
Okay, I am mixing them up, you're right.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry. So on that note, and then we'll go back to CPC. On that note, so how do you, when you say they would work closely, how would that work? Would somebody from each board be at their meetings, or would they just come regularly and report to the boards?
Sure.
So in talking with CJ today from BRPC, he thought that his staff member, whoever the program manager was and the staff member, would attend regularly meetings, especially for the planning board, regularly scheduled meetings to bring you up to date on where we're at.
Okay.
So that when you get the document for final approval, you'll have understood every section.
The process and everything.
And these would be public meetings, so people would be
yes.
welcome to attend, obviously, as well.
Great, good. And then going back to CPC, then you're going to have one person from each board, and then the rest are going to be...
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. That's it.
Any other comments, questions? Anyone want to sing a carol for us before we leave? Do I have...
There is a sing-along at Trinity Church.
There's a community sing-along and solstice celebration on... Sunday? Is it Sunday?
Saturday.
Oh, I just posted it on Nextdoor, 5 o'clock at Trinity Church, either Saturday or Sunday. Come along and sing.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, and everyone have a lovely holiday.